number patterns and pattern rules. We can identify patterns that exist in a set of numbers. A set of numbers might go up by 3 every time, they may double or multiply by 2 each step, or they may be split into smaller groups. When we look at a set of numbers and determine what the pattern is, we call that a pattern rule. So our goal here is going to be identifying those patterns and then creating that pattern rule. So here I have a number pattern. So from 5 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 11, and 11 to 15. So as I go through, the first time I add 1, then I add 2, then I add 3, then I add 4. So as I keep going, I have created a pattern. And so my pattern rule, I might say, is start at 1, or start at 5 and add 1. And each time I go up, I'm going to increase the number I add by 1. So to get the next 5 turns, I would continue to increase the number I add by 1 each time. So I'd add 4, and then add 5, and then add 6, and then add 7, and then add 8. And whatever I get, I would just continue that pattern. So we can actually use counters to show this situation. So I start at 5, and then I add 1, and we've shown that in blue to kind of show you the difference. And then I'm going to add 2, and I've colored them in orange. Then we add 3, which are the green ones. Then we add 4, which are those red ones. And then we would add 5, which are the pink ones. So I could keep going, and I could keep doing this for a very, very long time. Here is another number pattern. So I went from 10 to 6, 6 to 11, 11 to 7, 7 to 12. So I want to ask myself, what's happening between those numbers? Well, to go from 10 to 6, I subtract 4. And then 6 to 11, I'm going to add 5. And then 11 to 7, I subtract 4. And 7 to 12, I added 5 again. So this is a very different pattern. And so the pattern rule would be start at 10, and then alternately, or first one, then the other, subtract 4, then add 5. So if I wanted to find more terms, I would continue that pattern. I would subtract 4, add 5, subtract 4, add 5, subtract 4, add 5. So as we go, that's one way we could do it. There's actually another way that I can do it. So if I look at just every second number, I would look 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I actually add 1 to every second number. And at the bottom, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. So sometimes when we have a pattern, we actually could have more than one rule. So just because you get something different than what someone else gets doesn't necessarily mean you're wrong. You may have just looked at it in a slightly different way. So I have some practice questions here for you, just to get used to working with number patterns and naming them. So if we are looking at the first question, just because it is a little bit different, so I just did an example of question 1. So it says start at 9, add 2 each time, and it asks us to write the first 5 terms. So I'm going to start at 9 and then add 2 until I have 5 terms or 5 numbers which are part of that pattern. So 9 plus 2 is 11, plus 2 is 13, plus 2 is 15, plus 2 is 17, and those would be the first 5 terms. So as you go through, you can use that to help you practice. And if you have any issues, please let me know and we can chat and work them out.